Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're looking beyond just what a community organization teaches. We're exploring how it strategically builds a lasting support network around its students. We're doing a deep dive into sources about the Literacy Council of Fort Bend County, specifically their upcoming events and, well, their operational goals. Okay, let's unpack this a bit. Usually you think adult education, you picture maybe tutoring sessions, test prep, often very transactional. But the sources we've got here, they paint a really different picture. An organization focused, quite intensely actually, on building a culture, not just, academic skills.
That's exactly it. That's our focus today. We're really analyzing how this specific literacy group structures its engagement. And crucially, they're deliberately targeting sustained inclusion, getting both current students and former students involved. It's really a study in organizational longevity and, I'd say, deep retention.
And the thing that really grabbed us, the initial hook, was the language they're using. It's language almost always reserved for high schools or colleges. We're talking about their first ever Spirit Week and their third annual Alumni Homecoming. When you see terms like that applied to adult literacy, what does that signal? That choice of words?
Oh, it signals a really profound understanding of community psychology, I think. They're trying to sort of shortcut the path to institutional loyalty. Spirit Week, homecoming, these are cultural shorthand, aren't they, for tradition, belonging, shared history. So by adopting that kind of language, that vernacular, they're attempting to give the council that same level of pride, that emotional connection you'd feel for, say, your alma mater. Even though, for many adult learners, this might be the very first positive academic place they've ever really connected with.
Interesting. Okay, so let's dig into the specific plans. Section 1, the events themselves. The sources lay out two key events coming up. You mentioned Spirit Week, that's totally new for them, and then the third annual Alumni Homecoming.
Yeah, and what's fascinating is combining those two. Spirit Week, because it's new, it's probably designed for that immediate, maybe lighthearted engagement, right? Generate some buzz internally. Think maybe dress-up days, friendly competitions, that sort of thing. It lowers the barrier for people to just jump in and participate. It's fun, low stakes.
Kind of injects some immediate energy into the daily routine.
Exactly. And then you pair that buzz, that immediate excitement, with the Alumni Homecoming event. That one's already established third year running. Homecoming, it relies on tradition, doesn't it? On bringing back successful graduates. So they're innovating with the short-term fun, the Spirit Week, while at the same time cementing their long-term institutional memory with homecoming. It's actually a pretty sophisticated, multi-layered way to build morale.
And the sources really emphasize this, encouraging both current students and past students to come. It's not like one event for the newbies and another for the alumni. They're actively trying to mix those groups.
That mixing, that cross-pollination, that's the whole point, really. Current students get to see the living proof, people who sat right where they are, faced the same challenges and made it through. And the alumni, they feel a continuing connection, a stake in the organization's ongoing success. It reinforces their own sense of belonging, their commitment, long after they've finished the official program. And for anyone interested, the details are apparently right there on the council's website. They make it easy to find, which shows they want everyone involved.
It really sounds like they're building this cyclical model of support, which leads us nicely into the why. Why put so much energy into social events? Okay, section 2. We've covered the what and when. Let's pivot to the why. The council lists 4 clear objectives, the value proposition for the learner, essentially. They're incredibly upfront about what they hope people gain from attending these events.
Yes, and this is where it goes beyond just, a fun get-together or even fundraising. It becomes part of their core educational philosophy. The 4 benefits they list are, 1, building a greater sense of community. 2, helping attendees feel like they're part of something bigger than themselves. 3 is creating new friendships. And 4, solidifying new opportunities, personal and professional engagement. What's really striking there is how much weight is given to the social and emotional side of things. Look at those first 3 points: community, belonging, friendship. It's all about connection, identity, fighting isolation.
It almost seems backwards, doesn't it? If literacy is the mission, wouldn't you lead with, better job prospects or higher test scores?
Well, that's the tightrope walk, isn't it? And the sources suggest they get the challenges of adult learning very deeply. Think about the typical adult learner. Often there's a level of internalized stigma, maybe shame tied to their literacy needs. They might have dropped out of school years ago, feel isolated because they can't fully participate in their community. Now, if you just offer reading lessons, okay, you might fix the technical skill, but you haven't touched the isolation, the thing that often leads people to just give up, to drop out. So by leading with community, friendship, belonging, they're basically building the psychological foundation first. They're saying, you're safe here, you're not alone, you're valued.
Ah, okay. So the emotional safety net comes before the academic success can really take root. And if you connect that to the bigger picture, making friends, feeling part of something bigger,
Yeah.
that keeps the student engaged long enough to actually use that fourth goal, but the personal and professional opportunities.
Exactly right. The social capital they build just by showing up to a Spirit Week event or homecoming, meeting people, sharing stories, breaking down those invisible walls. That's arguably as critical as the classroom instruction itself. The organization seems to recognize that adult isn't just about pouring knowledge in, it's about rebuilding confidence, integrating the learner back into a supportive social fabric. Without that strong foundation of belonging, any new job opportunity might just fizzle out because there's no sustained support or self-belief.
Right, which brings us to Section 3. This focus on community means students aren't just passive recipients. They become active participants. The sources talk about how current and past students actually transition into volunteer roles, moving from getting support to giving it.
Yes. And this is where the model becomes really self-sustaining. And notice how they structure these volunteer roles. It seems designed for low barrier entry, accommodating different comfort levels. They break down volunteer help into 3 main areas, which really highlights the different kinds of needs and skills involved.
Let's detail those 3 categories because they seem pretty key to understanding how this whole thing is built.
Okay, first, there's helping with administrative tasks, pretty standard back office support, paperwork, organization. Second, assisting with classroom needs. This might need a bit more familiarity with the lessons or the teaching environment, but it's the third category that's, I think, the most powerful for community building, simply being a friendly face with other students.
Yeah, I really want to zoom in on that third one. Being a friendly face. That's such a powerful non-technical contribution, isn't it? You don't need special skills like Excel or curriculum design. You just need to have gone through the program yourself and be willing to, smile and chat with someone new.
Absolutely. That role feels intentionally designed to bridge that exact gap we discussed, the anxiety a new student feels. Imagine walking into a new program as an adult. It can be incredibly intimidating. But if the first person you connect with is an alumnus, someone maybe like you who understands the struggles and their only job right then is to be welcoming, well, that creates immediate trust, instant credibility. This strategy effectively frames the council not just as a school, but as a kind of leadership pipeline. Students succeed, they come back, they reinforce that something bigger feeling by showing newer students what's actually possible. They are the living testimonials.
So thinking about peer support versus professional support,
Yeah.
that peer reassurance probably hits differently, right? It instills hope in a way maybe staff can't quite replicate. The professional can teach, but only the alumnus can truly say, look, I know exactly how tough this feels, but trust me, you can do this.
Absolutely. That friendly face role is vital. It creates a relatable benchmark for success. It turns what can be a really isolating journey, adult learning, into more of a shared experience, a potential shared victory. And by splitting volunteer work into admin, classroom, and social roles, the council makes sure that pretty much every graduate, no matter their final skill level or comfort zone, can find a meaningful way to stay involved. That maximizes retention, doesn't it? Both for the student getting help and the alumnus giving it. It strengthens the whole ecosystem.
This has been a really fascinating look behind the curtain at community engagement strategy. I think the main takeaway for you listening is that successful community literacy efforts seem to depend heavily on going beyond just the instruction. The success, the longevity of their mission, it seems directly tied to using these specific social tools like borrowing the cultural weight of Spirit Week and homecoming and smartly using specific low-barrier volunteer roles like that friendly face.
Yeah, our analysis really shows a highly sophisticated organizational strategy here. They're taking these very familiar traditional cultural events, things usually linked with youth, rites of passage, that deep institutional loyalty, and they're adapting them to build and solidify absolutely essential adult community bonds. They aren't just teaching reading, they're actively working to cure isolation and build lifelong support networks.
They're essentially turning a service provider into something more like a second home, a community hub. Which leaves us with a final, maybe provocative thought for you to consider. How many other vital community services out there, things like job training centers, mental health programs, maybe even civic groups, could dramatically boost their impact? Could they deepen participant loyalty, retention, and ultimately success? Just by adopting some of these seemingly lighthearted, traditional social structures to make sure those crucial human connections last long after the official program ends.